All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Green White Checker TV. Tonight we have the season finale of the Area 51 Superspeedway Xfinity Series. Tonight here at Talladega Superspeedway. As always, race distance 75 laps. Our scheduled distance, of course, Green White Checkers could always throw that into play and maybe shake things up a little bit in the race and the championship battle as well. Also, one fast pair available for the drivers should they need it. Fuel mileage should be right on the two-stop strategy to get to lap number 75. So probably see a little bit, some fuel saving from some drivers and other drivers that are just going to be trying to control this race. But what we do know is there'll be plenty of room for these drivers to go three wide, and I'm sure we will see it early and often. So, but again, the story of tonight is going to be the points, and right now, it's not a guarantee. It's a good spot to be in, but it's not a guarantee for Sebastian Marin right now. 41-point lead over J.D. Crow. Eric Laurie, 47 out. And then you go another 7 back to Gabe Butler, 54. Cody Nagels rounds out the top 5, 64 out of the lead. So I believe mathematically it's going to be between Sebastian through Gabe. I believe from there on out, I think those are beyond the numbers that they can make to the end. So the battle really, I think, is going to be, to me, I think it's really going to be probably the top 3, maybe outside chance for Gabe Butler, but I'd be watching Sebastian Marin, JD Crow, and Eric Laurie. I think those are going to be 3 to watch here tonight. So we'll see what the points look like. Of course, once everything is said and done, we'll try to get that updated as quick as possible. And our other championship drivers making the playoffs, Peter DeBorgia, Vicente Guerrero, and Todd Siebels. Unfortunately, some of those just not having the nights they're looking for over the playoffs, and then of course, unfortunately for Vicente fortunately having to go on vacation. So there's worse problems to have for situations like that. So we'll see how it all shakes out. So, like I said, got plenty of racing to come your way tonight. And then this will end the season 2022-B, I believe it is. And we'll have a couple weeks off before we kick things back off again here with the Sunday Superspeedway Xfinity Series starting on August 8th on Sunday. So actually, let me make sure I have that date right here. Actually, I'm sorry. Sunday, August 7th, not 8th. It's the day off there. But yeah, so that is what we've got in store for tonight. Right now, drivers still putting down their qualifying laps. Still got a handful of drivers on track. And we'll say one of those drivers we're going to try to pull in a little early, have a chat with, because if I heard correctly, they had some things that they wanted to mention, maybe give some shout outs or such. So let's pull in that driver here, and that is going to be the number 9 of Charles Johnson. I'll say just finished up his qualifying laps, kind of spying on him. And so Charles, I know you kind of do a little bit of everything, obviously over here, racing, kind of running the show, adminning, kind of recruiting. Say it's been a very productive and eventful season, but say somehow season already coming to a close here for a couple of weeks before we kick it off back again. But I heard you had some things you wanted to bring up and maybe some shout outs you wanted to give before tonight's race as well.
Yeah, I think Sebastian's pretty well got the championship locked up for this season. So congratulations to Sebastian for the Xfinity championship. We'll make it official after the race tonight, but looking at the points, I think he's pretty well got it locked up. And I want to give a shout out to my oldest boy. I think he's watching us tonight. So appreciate you coming out watching. Hope we put on a good show for you, and enjoy the race. Hey, and thanks to Green White Checker TV. You guys do an awesome job for us every year, and looking forward to a partnership with you guys again next season.
Yeah, it's always a lot of fun doing these with you, Charles. And yeah, so we've seen crazier things happen before, so we'll have to see if Sebastian, like you said, if he can lock it up or not. So then that's, like you said, I mean, that's why we're here, though, because you never know from start to finish. So it's going to be fun to see. It looks like qualifying has just completed, so we'll get you back over there with your teammates. But yeah, Charles, it's been a pleasure working with you guys. And like you said, looking forward to seasons to come. So good luck tonight, sir. And let's go get a top 3 interview after tonight.
Absolutely. I'm going to do my best. You guys have fun up there in the booth.
All right, so that was Charles Johnson again, one of the main admins over with the Area 51 League. Really appreciative of all the kind of time and effort and everything he puts into the league to help things be what they are here. Let's go ahead and pull up our starting grid for tonight's event, however, and it's going to be Gabe Butler on the pole again. He was, I believe, 4th in points coming into tonight, and importantly, he does take a bonus point away for that pole position from Sebastian Marin, so Can't extend that points lead just that little bit extra. There's a 9,000ths of a second difference. Then you got Jimmy Crow there in third. Robert DuPont's another strong qualifying run in fourth. Then you got Vicente Guerrero, Cody Nagle's teammates there in fifth and sixth. Then you got one of our championship contenders, Eric Laurie there, 7th, Charles Johnson, we just talked to, 8th, JD Crow, Les Levy, 9th and 10th. Then we move down 11th to Peter DeBorgia, Zach Workman in the 12th position. Continue on, you got Donald Stewart, Bud Steele, Derek Walker rounding out our top 15. Then we go down to Jay Hilliard, Kevin LaChance, David Overstreet, Robert Jordan, and Robert Rock. And then we get to the final drivers who opted not to qualify for tonight, including Dan Harrington, Randy Miner, Todd Siebels, and Dean Wilkinson will be our 24 starters in tonight's event. So again, the three primary drivers we'll be watching tonight, though, are going to be that 23 Sebastian Marin, 071 of Eric Laurie, and the number 5 of JD Crow. So again, we'll see on the ticker. You'll see all the drivers' names highlighted in green. Those are the playoff drivers for this evening. So say that's where all the playoff drivers are. But like I said, there's going to be a couple that may not really be mathematically in the championship, but those will be the drivers that were those top 8 in the points. So definitely don't want to kind of leave them off and out to dry, because again, they've had an amazing season to get to this point. So it's going to be fun to see what these guys have in store for this final race of the season, and what kind of aggression we see out of them as the field starts to roll off of the front stretch and get that opening lap here, pace lap underway. As you can see, field as I already gave Butler thinking fuel mileage here. Again, we talked about it right on the edge of the field number, making it on 2 stops, so wasting no time saving fuel in that number 1 machine. So let's hop on and listen in. And yeah, there you go. If you kind of see that tachometer there, flicks it back on there, gets a little bit of RPM in it, then drops it right back off, shuts that car down. So Gabe already here on, not even on the green flag lap, he is saving fuel here, just ready to go, wants to make sure he's got everything in the tank. Peter DeBorgia a little further back, most certainly doing the same thing as well there. So it's been fun to see what they've got in store for us this evening. So we always talk about the teammates, of course. Say they got the boot knockers. Of course, you got a couple of those guys up front. A big group of the TW Motorsports drivers. We used to see them kind of start in the back and then work their way forward as the race comes underway. And we got a couple of the Jalopy teammates of that 82 Dan Harrington, the 20 of Derek Walker, and then the Limitless team of Cody Nagles and Vicente Guerrero. You see them in the IROC paint scheme cars there in that third row. So a lot of teammates are already pretty close relation to one another here on track, so we'll see if they get together. Do have 2 starting from the pits, the 45 of Todd Siebel, 78 of Donald Stewart. So the plus side for them is they will have some friends they'll have each other, I should say, in the pits to work together to at least not lose the draft as bad as it could be. So we'll see how that impacts the race. And as you can hear, Matt Wagner, he has made his way into the commentary booth. And Matt, somehow already, it's season finale time to finish off this 2022 B season. It's going to be Gabe Butler, Sebastian Marin leading the field here to green.
It's not a familiar sight to see them people up front, but it's glad to see Vicente Guerrero back in the car again. We'll see how well he does. I know he was on vacation, but getting a win for him was pretty exclamation point of the season.
Yeah, so a lot of these guys, like I said, just going for the trophy, not worrying about the points. As we get underway, here's the green flag is out. Sebastian Marin, Gabe Butler getting through the gears. But I said that's going to be what the 23 is going to be watching. It's going to be bonus points, going to be that finishing position. He's going to want to end this thing at the top of the heap here in the points. And so he does have a good lead coming into tonight, but again, we've seen crazier things happen. We talk about bonus points all season long, Matt. We'll see if that comes into play once again here tonight, because obviously bonus point for pole, bonus point for leading lap, leading the most laps, highest climber, but also importantly, bonus points for having an incident-free race. So I'll say that's going to have to be that kind of how aggressive do you want to be if you're Sebastian Marin, as right now these guys stay 2x2 here, coming through 3 and 4 for the first time.
Probably Sebastian Marin is going to lead that first lap.
Yeah, at the line, looks like, yep, Sebastian Marin, he's going to lead lap number 1, so knock that one off there, and that's a great opportunity for him there. Let's say get that bonus point out and over with. That's one less thing to stress about now, getting that at least that one lead, and then from now on he can kind of just settle in at least with a little bit less pressure. But I mean, Matt, we've talked all season long. That's just not Sebastian's way, though. He's not one that's just going to kind of ride and sit and just kind of fall into the championship. He's going to push and he's going to be aggressive. He's going to want to try to be out front and in control of this race and kind of just basically kind of let the chips fall where they may. So wouldn't be surprised to see Sebastian just kind of stay up front and keep pushing this issue like he can. So it'll be fun to see, though, as we still got plenty to go here.
No, it's going to be... he's going to give his all to win this race. He's going to... like I said, I barely often see him drop to the back. We might see Gabe Butler and Susie lead the lap might drop to the back.
It'll be interesting to see, because the thing is for Gabe, again, say the longer he's up front, the more points, or the more laps, I should say. Nope, never mind. He's proving us. You're proving you exactly right there. He's going to roll straight. Got that lap leg, goes straight to the back. What I was going to say was he had his teammate there, Jimmy Crow Jr., kind of in front of him, or behind him, I should say, as his pusher. I was going to say the more laps he can lead and take away from Sebastian Marin, the harder it would be Sebastian to get that extra bonus point of the most laps led. So, but filling a slot there very nicely, though. Again, Robert DuPont, we've been talking about him all season long. He's had such a good season, just hasn't been able to get that big win that he's looking for. But once again, early on here, of course, still lots of racing to go, but putting himself in position to be up front when it counts here. And then here comes that third lane, though. You got the 06 Cody Nagels. He's leading the outside line. He's got this Pierre DeBorgia behind him. Dean Wilkinson, that 55, sitting there in that third spot. They're making that third lane work here. As you see, there goes Jimmy Crow Jr. He drops to the inside as well, kind of mimicking what Gabe did. And that's giving the outside line a ton of momentum as Cody Nagels gets to the point.
Not a familiar sight for Cody. He's had a lot of bad luck this season, and hopefully he can turn his season around with a win just to go out on.
Yes, exactly. A lot of these drivers are going to want to finish the season on a strong note. Oh, a little bit of contact.
Wow, they saved it.
Great hands. Nice. Great hands by Peter and by Dean there. That could have been a big wreck there, but very quick hands. Very impressive job by both those drivers there. But say kind of getting away from all of that that we just saw right there, though. So we just talked to him during the pre-race there. Charles Johnson, our one of the league admins, and say kind of helping run the show here with the Super Speedway Sundays and Thursdays. Say right now he was at the point for just a moment, and now he drops back behind Cody Nagels as Cody gets back to the front. We also saw Eric Laurie. He drops on back as well. But right now, yeah, these guys are starting to duck and dive right now. As you see, the 18 there. 18, he tried to jump to the top, but he's got no help. Not sure if that was planned or not, but here goes Charles.
That looks planned to me. He's probably going to drop to the back with his teammates. But Peter DeBorgia has other plans from his teammates. He wants to lead that lap, and he wants to get that bonus point done and out of the way.
Yeah, exactly right. I think for Peter as well, I think Peter's one of those drivers also just wanting to finish the season on a high note, I should say, our defending season champion. So unfortunately, he won't be able to defend his crown, but I say he's still going to try to get the best result he can tonight in this race. And like I said, kind of just get that big boost at the kind of the end of the season to go into season 3, or season C, I guess you could say, of 2022. But right now, he's got again a little bobble by Peter and Dean there in that outside line, but now it's the 62 Les Levy they're pushing there on that third lane. Again, one of our league sponsors was Levy Designs. You can see over on the top left there on his Facebook page. You can find him on Facebook at his Levy Designs page. I'm sure one of his own creations right there in that car that he's got right now in that 62 as he leads that lap.
Man, oh man, they're getting racing already. 3 wide, and we're on lap 7.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect anything less, though, at Talladega here. But yeah, the other thing to mention, we talked about, Matt, is a couple of those guys starting from the pits. Todd Seals, Donald Stewart, they are with each other, so you got some those TW teammates working together. So I'd say, again, it's better than kind of being off on their own right now. They're about 17, 18 seconds off the lead. Just a little less than half a lap behind the field, which, again, honestly, not that bad. Probably at this point, if it wasn't for that help that they have with each other, say one of them, if it was just the one car, they'd probably be about 3/4 of a lap down. So that's just the difference even just one car makes right now. So Right now, these guys, like you said, going after it here, still 3x3. You see he's creeping into the picture, that 82 of Dan Harrington. He's had a couple of good runs here lately as well.
Oh, yeah.
He's trying to work that third lane. And also just a little bit in front of him in that middle line, the 19, Kevin LaChance. Kevin, again, little bobbles by this outside line. They just don't have it quite situated as organized as the middle and the inside lanes. But yeah, Kevin LaChance also looking to have a good finish to the season in that number 19 machine as well. So, like I said, I think that's what it is for a lot of these guys is championship or not, let's just get a good finish, try to get that win. Like I said, because this is the time to do it, Matt. A lot of these other drivers, they're going to be point racing. They're going to be worried about those bonus points, all that. Mm-hmm. Why not just go for it then if you take advantage of those opportunities?
Yeah, that's exactly what Les Levy's doing, is trying to get a lap led here. And we barely often see him up toward the front. And he wants to make a statement for the last race of the season. This is the time to do it, the last race. Momentum coming to the next season. Yeah,
exactly right. So yeah, Les kind of been more part-time this season than maybe he was hoping for or anticipating. But making the most of it right now in that 62. And that's the thing is when he's been in these races, I mean, he's definitely one to keep an eye on as well, because he's definitely one to watch these plate races. I think the big thing is just having teammates, having people you can work with in these races. And so that might be, again, just one of the deficits some of these guys have is not having those teammates with you. So, but right now, Les has got some help from Peter DeBorgia, although it looks like that third lane starting to fall back just a little bit. Because once again, Charles Johnson starting to kind of push just a little bit on the outside line with help from, again, Sebastian Marin.
Yeah, that outside line looks like they're a little bit disorganized. Like we've seen in the past, like the last race we had between, I think it was the 5-car of Judy Crow and I forget who was pushing him at the time, if I'm mistaken. But anywho, they were a lot more organized and I'm looking at the 41 and the 62. Just lots of moving around, and it's kind of hard for them to make the pass on that second line there.
Yeah, and speaking of JD Crow right now, he's kind of cruising at the back of the field right now, right in front of Gabe Butler, saying again, JD is one of those in that top 3 in points coming into tonight.
Whoa! That was a little bit of a bobble there. It looked like that little bit of a neck code issue between the 06 and the 23 there. Wow, that was awfully close.
Yeah, it's unfortunately missed that as we were trying to watch what was going on up front, so I'll see if I can go back and try to find it as it happened there. We'll go over to focus on that 23 car, so we'll speed it up a little bit because we went a little too far back here as they're down the backstretch right now. We'll pick it up, though, as they get to 3. So we saw this part already as we're jumping back to look at the 1 and the 5. So let's jump back live here, or not live here, but go back and take a look, like I said, see where that contact or potential net code was. So again, we're on replay right now. Oh yeah, a little bit of a contact between the 06 and the 23, and yeah, very, like I said, probably net code there, but man, yeah, that was, again, quick hands by that 23. So we jump back live, and doesn't look like much has changed. I say they're kind of staying in the exact same positions here, but we are back live once again, and say again, I mean, that's the thing, Matt, we talk about Sebastian Marin. I mean, this just is the way he races. He wants to be aggressive, wants to be up front, wants to kind of control these things, but things do still happen at the front of the field. I mean, right now, like I said, you've only got about 2 to 3 rows here side by side. Everybody else is kind of settled in here double wide, or even single file, just that little further back, right around the 6-car Bud Steele, 20 of Derek Walker. Things are pretty calm, honestly, from them on back. So, yeah, at some point, I say it looks like about 10th on back right now. These guys just kind of cruise control, really. But these top 6 drivers or so they're still going after a tooth and nail, but I think these other drivers are just kind of taking it easy here, waiting for that all-important pit stop, because that's kind of usually the telltale. That's when things kind of make or break your race, depending on those cautions or not. So right now, a nice little look to this race right here, but
line.
Oh yeah,
there goes Leslie, cuts right in front of Sebastian Marin
cleared. And Sebastian immediately on the bumper of that 62, going to shove him now, see if he can clear himself, most likely. And that's that again. It's in Sebastian's best interest to push that car in front of him as hard as he can, because then maybe he can get back to the front as that third lane now fizzles back down to the 2, as now it's going to be Les Levy, Charles Johnson leading the front. And once again, Peter DeBorgia just thinking up guy. No, I think he's going to roll on back here. I think he's going to maybe go find his teammates here, because we are about just outside of 10 laps away, Matt, from the fuel number here to make that first pit stop. So, so that's going to, like I said, just about halfway through the fuel window for these guys. So I think some drivers said, okay, I pushed hard. Now I'm going to back it down, try to save a little bit of fuel just to make sure I can get that lap 25, 26 mark. Because, again, if you can make this on 2-stopper, it's going to make your life so much easier than a 3-stopper. And, of course, the other part of that as well is if you can maybe go an extra lap or two, maybe try to get a little bit more fuel in that tank just in case of those potential green-white checkered finishes, as we have seen them before, and the fuel mileage does come into play. So right now, though, Charles Johnson, he's enjoying life right now. He's got just a nose ahead of Les Levy there on the outside line. Cody Nagels has been a really good pusher for him in the 06 car. So the ones we haven't talked about that we should be, I think, is actually Bud Steele here, Matt. He's just been kind of cruising here on that inside line. Yeah. Probably saving a lot of fuel in that number 6 car.
Plus, I like where he's at, too. He's probably in the best position where I want to be.
Yeah, exactly right. I'm in the same mindset as you, Matt. I always like to be as far forward as I can, but just behind the 2-3 wide action. And so, exactly. Very, very happy if I'm where Bud Steele is right now. So he's going to have a little bit of company here soon with Dean Wilkinson, and I believe it's Jay Hilliard as his pusher there behind him. Looks like they're starting to make the charge to get further forward towards the front here. Otherwise, though, feeling pretty comfortable with where those guys are at. And like I said, I think there's definitely some fuel strategy going on for a good chunk of these drivers.
Meanwhile, we have a little jockey for position up to the front. Les Levy looked like he took the lead for a moment there, but Charles Johnson slid right in front of Sebastian Marin and immediately took the lead right back.
Yeah, but here comes that third lane. We talked about track position. Maybe Dean Wilkinson, Jay Hilliard. They weren't just going to try to get track position. They're going for the lead here as they get to the outside of that 19 car. And saying they've gotten to the second row now. Can they keep that momentum? Can they keep it built up enough to try to get to the front of the 9 and the 23? And say right now, they should get a good push here out of turn number 4.
I was saying, where did they come from? I wasn't even looking. It was like they had all this momentum coming.
Yeah, at the line, couldn't quite clear, but almost get the lead there for Dean Wilkinson. But you see again
here in a backstretch.
Yeah, if they can get a good push out of turn number 2, this is usually, again, that's where the outside line starts. The momentum starts to shift to that outside lane. But right now, I think there's just too much separation between that 55, 59. Yeah. I'm saying again, Jay Hilliard, he can only push for so long, Matt. He can't get that car too hot. He'll risk popping that motor. So while he's racing, he's going to be watching watching the oil temp, watching the water temp. So he's got to balance a lot of things and say, well, actually, we won't unfortunately see what the actual temps are. We can see those gauges just to the left of the tachometer. For the driver, when they start to get hot, you will see that start to turn red and start flashing red when it starts to get to that number. And as soon as you see that, you've got to get some air on that car. And even then, there's no guarantee that it'll cool off fast enough to save that motor. So say that for Jay Hilliard, he's got to kind of manage that aggression. And again, early on the race, no sense going too crazy yet. But once we get to that 2 to go, 1 to go in this race, these guys, they'll pretty much just push these things till they pop.
I wish us as broadcasters would be able to see that kind of stuff. And that would be great.
Yeah, it's one of those kind of double-edged swords where it'd be good to have all the extra info, but at the same time, there's sneaky drivers. They can multitask really well, and they'd be finding out what's going on for their competition. Be like, all right, this guy's got this left, this guy's this hot, and they'd find a way to use it to their advantage. Even almost like Indy cars, Matt. You think about in the actual IndyCar series at the road courses, they know each other's competitions. They know who has how much push to pass left, things like that. It's one of the rare things that you actually don't have in iRacing. As you see, there goes Dean. He's going to clear Sebastian. He's going to go to the middle. And so you've got Randy Minor in that 101 you can see on the third lane having a little bit of connection difficulties here. So that always makes drivers a little bit nervous. But luckily, he's in a pretty decent spot here where he's not really in a giant pack where everybody's like 3x3. So he might need to try to just cruise just a little bit off these guys. And hopefully things settle into that connection. But we're getting about to that first pit stop, Matt, probably but about 5 more laps, I'd say, when that window starts to open. But I do think we're going to see some guys probably around 26, 27 make that first green flag pit stop.
Yeah, about 7-6 laps away, as looks like Dean Wilkinson is going to take the lead here.
Yeah, it took a couple laps, but Dean, he's found his way to the point. right in front of one of his TW teammates there of Charles Johnson. And now he's going to get that lap lead like you talked about, Matt, in that 55. So pretty big move. I say, again, everybody's just kind of taking it easy, playing nice, kind of staying calm, cool, and collected here early on. Dean saw that. He said, you know what? Now's the time. I'm going to take advantage of this. I'm going to make that charge to the front. And that's exactly what he did as he now gets to the point. But here comes that momentum shift from the outside lane. Kevin LaChance pushing Sebastian Marin. Gets to about the second row, but not quite enough to get to Dean as of yet. Now it's going to be all about that run out of turn number 4.
Thing I'm worried about, if you're Kevin LaChance, do you really want to push the 23 in front of the 55? If so, Sebastian's probably going to slide up right in front of the 55. And if you're at 19, you're going to lose all that track position.
Yeah, I mean, for Kevin, it's kind of a hard decision to make because, I mean, again, if you can push him clear of a lane, maybe that gives you the opportunity then that car behind you, which in this case will be Dan Harrington, maybe Dan could give him that big push to the front. Maybe he could be the one to lead that outside lane, but you're exactly right, though. I mean, yeah, as soon as the 23 clears, I would suspect he would drop to the inside lane. But yeah, then it's all about what that car behind you does, and you can see it looks like the 101 Randy Minor looks like things have cleared up for him. So you do have 4 cars strong here running that second lane. So I think if I'm Kevin, if I can push that 23 clear of the 55, I think I take it because I think that's then your best chance to be able to have your opportunity to try to lead that second line.
Speaking of, I was trying to look up to see our update on Donald Stewart and the 45 of Todd Siebels. They can look doing pretty good out there.
They're still holding on. They say they're about a second a lap slower right now. It could definitely be a lot worse. Right now it's showing about just a little over 30 seconds back of the field again these laps, but it's about a 50-second lap that these guys are running right now. The pace has definitely dropped off a little bit here, and I think that's to the benefit of Donald and Todd. So right now, like I said, probably about 2/3 or so of a lap down, but again, I mean, if it was just one of them, they'd already be lapped without any question. So at this point, they still need a caution and bring them back into this thing, but at least at this point, they're not in the worst spot that they could be. So, and again, you never know if and when things will happen. So they're kind of off on their own. So as long as they play nice with each other, they should be okay. So, but yeah, right now though, like I said, a lot of strategy, a lot of just I think fuel saving going on. Again, I mean, drop to the very back of this pack here. You've got Gabe Butler, you got JD Crow. And I think these guys are definitely thinking bonus points to, again, try to get that incident-free race here for that 5 again. As I think JD was actually the closest on points. Actually, as we say that, looks like Donald Stewart, Todd Siebels on pit road here. So they can only go about 23 laps, man. That just shows how much the draft plays. But actually, look at this. Big group of drivers here hitting pit road earlier than I expected, wow, Matt, because we're coming to 24 right now. Charles Johnson. Ooh, some of these guys got a pretty hot entry there, but looks like everybody's in cleanly. Now I just got to hope for no speeding penalties, so that now promotes Les Levy to the point.
Yeah, I really don't like them pitting that early. It's, to me, if you're up there, you're probably foot to the floor. Like I said, I like the guys in the back saving fuel. Just that last pit stop is the most crucial one.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think the less time on pit road you can have, the better. Looks like those guys that all pitted, looks like clean pit stops for everybody, no pit penalties, so that's job number 1 done. We'll see now if we can get to the second round. We'll see if anybody comes in this time, and it looks like just 1. Actually, nope, looks like 2 now. It's going to be Robert Jordan and Kevin LaChance. They're going to roll. Oh, contact as they enter pit road there between the two of them. Unfortunately, it's going to be, I believe, a pit penalty for Robert as he went outside the pit cone there for an unsafe entry. For Kevin LaChance, it's going to be just whether or not he had wound up speeding during that contact. So it's a tough break for those guys. Just the 2 of them, but unfortunately, it didn't work out well for those 2 as the field continues to lead the way. But do need to mention the pit stops, Matt. Jay Hilliard, 14-second pit stop to everybody else's 9 to 10-second stop. So he's unfortunately off on his own now in that 59 car. In danger here pretty soon of going a lap down here. Of course, still waiting for the second group to hit pit road.
Yeah, it looks like Kevin Chance did get that penalty.
Yeah, looks like long pit stops for both. And here comes a big group of drivers hitting pit road. And, oh, this is going to be a tight one. Peter DeBorgia, he's going to pass some drivers on the outside. Gets loose, saves it. 3 wide here on pit lane. They're going to have to get sorted here because, again, they
boy.
got to make sure that they hit their pit stalls right now, as this is pretty much the field here, all coming to lap number 26 on pit road. And so far, so good. And unfortunately, good fuel mileage here might be, unfortunately, a curse for David Overstreet, as he is on his own here, going 1 extra lap, but without any draft here. This is going to really slow down the 68th lap here.
Ouch, that's really going to hurt him. He's got no friends, and when you got no friends out there, you're probably going to lose a second out on the track, and when he comes back out, he might lose a draft, just maybe.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on it. Right now, he's on pit road now, and that car, I think he may be out of fuel because that thing is not hustling down pit road as fast as you might expect, so maybe some sputters as it came out of 4. We'll have to watch and see. Right now, Les Levy, he's the one that won the race out of pit road. But don't look now. You're going to see a big line of cars here working that second lane here. Actually, it's going to be Peter DeBorgia. He's going to try to jump to the outside. But look at this third lane. Here they come. It's going to be pretty much a blur, and that's going to be the 55 of Dean Wilkinson. Going to swing right on by there with Charles Johnson, with the 07 Robert DuPont. Pretty much a good chunk of the TW drivers. And they're going to swing right on by here, get Dean back to the point. But that being said, though, that group that pitted a little later, they are able to build speed up pretty nicely there, and they're going to hang on to about the top 5, it looks like.
Yeah, you're right with David Overstreet. He did run out of fuel. So
yeah, and he's just now leaving pit road. Yeah, so unfortunately going to be way off the draft. So we need to bring this up too, Matt, because we have a big championship development right now, and that is that Sebastian Marin. He is right now in 18th position, but he is outside the draft pack right now, as he's working with the 74 here, Robert Jordan, but it's just the 2 of them. But right now they are over 6 seconds off the lead, and it's going to continue to grow. So this could be a big development depending on how this race unfolds. If this thing stays green, this could be a very, very dangerous situation for that 23 car.
Yeah, I don't know if he had trouble getting up to speed or not, and that was quite weird.
Yeah, so we'll have to see if we can, maybe I can try to go back and take a look, but at the same time, though, it's busy up front, so I'm a little afraid to go away from the front here right now. Because
I've been taking a look at it. He had a very bad pit entry, so.
Yeah, and then again, we talked about how big that pack was on pit road. Maybe he wasn't able to get as cleanly into his pit stall as he would have liked, and also may have just kind of had a blind entry, so. You see a little further back, you got Gabe, JD, and Jimmy Crow. They're trying to hustle back up to the field. Looks like they will catch this main pack, so they'll be okay. But we do have a few drivers now, unfortunately, that have got kind of caught out by it, like we mentioned. So Jay Hilliard, David Overstreet, we had mentioned those 2 already. Todd Siebels and Donald Stewart, they're still together, and they're actually not that far off of David Overstreet. So actually, I lied. They're about 17 seconds off at David Overstreet. But again, they're still together with these 2 cars. So they're still, though, on the lead lap, so great job by them. The 2 drivers that did lose the lead lap here are the 19 of Kevin LaChance and the 74 of Robert Jordan. Unfortunately, the contact between the 2 of them was what wound up giving them those pit penalties. So those are the 2, unfortunately, that kind of got burned under this first round of green flag pit stops.
So after I did a little bit of investigation, I think Sebastian Marin ran out of fuel coming into the pits. That's lots of lost time.
Yeah, that we'll see how it shakes out, but yeah, that could be a very unfortunate. Well, again, there's still lots of racing to go, but yeah, I mean, right now he's about 10 seconds off the lead. So realistically, for Sebastian, he needs this thing to have a yellow somewhere in this race to bring him back into the field. But at the same time, now if you're JD Crow, if you're Eric Laurie, you want this thing to go green here, because that's going to give you your best chance to try to win this championship. But again, we've seen crazy things happen in these races. You never know. We got a couple dropping to the back here, Peter DeBorgia and Dean Wilkinson. Maybe something they didn't like, or maybe they're looking at their fuel mileage and say, hey, you know what? We're probably burning too much fuel right now. We got to back it down to make sure we can make it on one more stop, because again, that's the next thing, Matt. We got to talk about this. Charles Johnson, Robert DuPont pitted at lap 23, Randy Meyer, Derek Walker, and then everybody else pitted coming to lap 25 or coming to 26, I believe. So some of these guys are going to have to back the pace down a little bit here just to make sure that they can hit that fuel number. Like I said, unfortunately for David Overstreet, he had good fuel. He got to lap 26 to make it on pit road. But again, he was the only one and lost the draft there. So it's one of those things where you kind of, it's just unfortunately he got too good of a fuel mileage and compared to the rest of the field.
Yep. Like I said, those guys burning all that fuel. Ooh, that was very close. The 07 trying to come up in front of Charles Johnson. Looks like Charles Johnson had to get on the brakes there.
Yeah, close call between the 07 and the 9, but like I said, Charles looked like he had to cut it to the apron a little bit. Probably had to lift a little bit because you can see how much momentum the inside line lost, but that's now allowed Randy Minor here. He jumps to the front of the field in that number 101 for just a moment because now Derek Walker, he gets the big push, and he's got a teammate lined up with him, Dan Harrington, and there they go. They're going to clear, and the 20 is going to go straight to the bottom here. So now put those two teammates of the Jalopy teammates there kind of running first and third for the moment. Soon looks like going to be first and second, leading the inside and the middle lane.
Yeah, not so fast. Looks like Darren Harrington has quite a good help from Les Levy there.
Yeah, say Dan just a nose ahead there, entering 3, but the shorter distance, of course, going to kind of help through the turn. The other thing to mention is Dan Harrington, he did pit on 25, so he's got a little bit more fuel than these guys next to him. Right now, he is actually the highest of the drivers that are in that pitted on 25, next to those being that 62 of Les Levy. So, like I said, there's a lot of strategy going on right now with some of these guys. The two that I feel like are in the best position right now, based on where they are in line and, of course, on their pit stop, is the Limitless teammates here. Cody Nagels, Vicente Guerrero. They sit 7th and 8th, but they're just cruising on this inside line. They're not burning as much fuel as those guys battling for the lead like Dan is and Les and company. So really like what I'm seeing out of these two teammates there in the 06 and the 14. And I do think that's also why we saw some of those teammates like Peter DeBorge and them drop to the back again. I think they're thinking fuel mileage, and they said, you know what, we're going to have to be a little bit cautious here. And it also might even be, again, too, maybe they can go one lap further, possibly. Again, see, maybe some of these guys might pit at, let's say, 50. If they could go possibly, let's say, 51, maybe that opens up some opportunities for them as well. But the ones that pitted at 23, I'm a little nervous about that. And actually, speaking of which, let's see if we can kind of show the viewers here, Matt. Let's try to pull up when they pitted to give you all a little bit of more info of that top 8 here. And there you go. You see over on the right-hand side here, you see those guys who pitted at 23, who pitted at 25. So the ones of the top 8, the ones I'm worried about in this list would be Derek Walker, Randy Minor, and Robert DuPont, all pitting at 23. Then you have Dan Harrington, Les Levy, Bud Steele, Cody Nagels, and Vicente Guerrero all pitting at 25. So I say that's just the top 8 right now that it's showing.
I'm really nervous for Derek Walker right now, and Robert DuPont. Where they're running right now on track, they're really pushing the envelope of that fuel window.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. To me, I feel like there's going to have to be a splash of fuel at some point the way things are looking. So, again, I mean, this is all based on things going green to the end. I mean, we've seen green flag races. We've seen caution-free races. We've also had some races that have very, very long green flag runs, but before something happens, either in the middle, the later stages, or even the final laps of the race. I mean, we've seen sometimes where the first caution comes literally coming to the white flag, and they just catch it before they have to before they race to the end. So, and that's the thing. That's why we're here, Matt. It's like you never know how these races are going to play out. These super speedway races, of course, to a very big open playing field, a very even playing field as well. Kind of a lot of advantages that some drivers may have at the kind of the big tracks like the 1.5 miles, 2 miles short tracks. So it kind of becomes a little bit more even when you get to these play races, and you see it in NASCAR itself too. You see those smaller teams gives them a better chance to kind of compete and have a chance at these wins and stuff. And I feel like that's a bit of what you see here as well.
Yeah. Speaking of traffic, we got about. Looks like our leaders are catching up on some of the TW boys. Yeah, it's again. I mean, we're 36 laps in, Matt, and this 2-car duo of Todd Siebels and Donald Stewart, they have still yet to get lapped here. And again, they're only lapping right now. They're only lapping 0.7 of a second slower than this giant pack of cars. Again,
I think that shows kind of the fuel mileage. These guys they're looking at fuel numbers. I don't think some of these guys are going as full tilt as they could be. And actually, another thing to mention, Matt, we talked about how early those two had to pit when they were just working together. We got to go back to our championship leader coming tonight, that 23, Sebastian Marin. He's going to have to be doing the same. He's probably pushing as hard as he can within reason here, that 74 here of Robert Jordan, because, again, he may have to short pit this 23 car as well, and that might put him outside that fuel window to make it to the end as well. So, like I said, without a caution, this race is really kind of up for grabs, and this championship as well, I think, has a really big chance of really shaking things up pretty aggressively.
Now, speaking of them two, are making a pit stop.
Yeah, early pit stop actually for Todd Siebel's Donna Stewart. They were last in around 22, 23. We're only on 37, so yeah, not sure about this strategy, why they would come in so early, unless they're just maybe worried about the leaders coming up on them. But I mean, in my situation, I would say you want to run this thing as far out as you can. But again, let's say these guys have a lot more things available to them than we have. So they might have something where say, you know what, we're going to have to make it a 3-stop race anyway. So let's maybe just try to split this up a little bit differently. So we'll see how it shakes out. You never know. It does look like they might have a chance to cycle in around Jay Hilliard, David Overstreet. So that would be a good opportunity to turn that 2-car draft into a 4-car draft. But right now, though, right now it's still just the 2 on the outside. Dan Harrington, Randy Minor. They're the ones that are just kind of controlling the front of this race right now, and with those pushers of Derek Walker and the 19 of Kevin LaChance.
He hit the nail right on the head there, Gael. That's pretty good predicting there.
Yeah, so I try to peek at that track map and get a little bit of a view. So yeah, we'll go back. We'll look at Todd Siebel's Robert Jordan, because there they are. Then we'll go back and we'll try to find Jay Hilliard. They're not that far back. We'll look forward from that car. Yeah, there those two are. They should be able to start picking up the toe of those two in front of them. And yeah, that'll be a way to pick up all of their pace really of this race. So I think that's definitely, if that was the goal, I think that worked out very, very well. But again, still lots of racing to go here.
Oh yeah, God, that's brilliant. I wish I thought of that.
So we'll see. As I say again, I mean, you never know how these things will turn out, but right now we've got 17 drivers still in this lead pack, from Randy Minor leading to Dean Wilkinson there sitting in 17th. And again, Dean's one of those also that pitted at lap 23. I think Dean is definitely thinking fuel. I think that's why he opted, you said, like we were talking about, Matt, to drop to the back and said, you know what, I got to try and make this thing to lap 49, lap 50. I think the more you can get, the better. Because, I mean, if we do the math here for those guys that pitted at 23, I think at best we'll see them at 46, 47. Or I should say at worst, I should say probably 46, 47, which means this pit window for some of these drivers may open in about the next 6 laps.
Yeah, that's going to be rough for them.
It just, yeah, it'll be interesting to see, because the other thing, of course, the time on pit road, taking a splash of fuel, you're going to lose a ton of time. But the thing is, the more drivers that have to do it, that's just going to force that second, or the group that feels like they can 2-stop it, that pace is probably going to slow down. It's going to be one of those races where nobody wants to lead the race, because they like, if we're leading, we're not saving. And if we're not saving, we're not going to make it to the end. So I say, unless you got kind of that sacrificial lamb, if you will, of a driver, a lot of these guys who are going to try to make it on the 2-stop strategy, they're not going to want to lead this pack. So that might even be what we're seeing right now, is a lot of these guys probably didn't want to lead. And so then Randy Minor, I keep mixing up names here. Randy Minor's like, well, fine, if you guys are going to do that, I'm just going to go and I'm going to lead this race here, because he's probably got another agenda on his mind for how he's going to play this race out. So we'll see how it's all going to shake out. But yeah, right now Randy Minor, he's kind of in a nice little spot here, no pressure. I say he's getting that rust-colored TW Motorsports car some pretty good TV time right now.
Well, I think the fuel saving went out the window, Gael.
Yep, here comes Dean Wilkinson. He's decided, you know what, I've done my saving, it's time to go. And he's got the 171 of Robert Rock. He said, you know what, yep, I'm with you, let's go. And actually, no, look at that. As soon as he got an opening, he jumps right in. It looks like the 171, yeah, I think Charles Johnson gave him a little bit of wiggle room to drop in as well. And this also just might be that pit stops looming. You want to try to pit from as far forward as you can. So if you can pit from the top 5 or so, that's a good place to be. Because again, right now, even though they're in the main draft, let's go back to again JD Crow, Jimmy Crow Jr. They are about 3 seconds off the lead from, or 2.5, 3 seconds off the lead from where they sit on track. So again, you kind of do the math there, Matt, and I mean that's far enough to lose the draft if you don't have a perfect pit stop. So that's the reason why some of these drivers are going to try to push forward and get to that pit lane early, because again, if you have any little hiccup and you're pitting from, let's say, this 16th, 15th, 17th positions, you may not hang on to this main pack. And also, yeah, here's that 4-car draft now with Todd Siebels and Jay Hilliard leading it. And then behind them, you got David Overstreet there with, I believe that is, Donald Stewart as well in that pack. So, like I said, that 2-car draft now, yeah, turned into a 4-car draft. Again, a few of these drivers are a bit off cycle, so we'll see again when pit stops have to start forming. But right now, that's what their goal is to probably just, again, try to get that pace up here, Matt. But again, though, I think we're getting pretty soon here. We're probably going to have to see some drivers start to duck in. Not this lap, it looks like, but I think within the next 2 to 3 laps, we'll probably see those drivers pitted at lap number 23. They will probably be coming in probably in the next 2 to 3 laps.
And after that, it's pretty much game on for these guys. I know these guys been pretty patient all race, but when after that last pit stop, the patience starts to run thin and the competition starts heating up.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You kind of just wait for, you just kind of wait for the things to open up basically, and then I say, yeah, these guys definitely look like tonight they're going to be going for the pit stop strategy of trying to decide the outcome of this race. But the problem is though, once you get to that 5-10 laps to go, say all strategy kind of usually goes out the window, and greed starts to set in and say, well, you know what, I could actually win this race, and if I do that, or if I can make this move here, that can get me to the front and things of that nature. So because right now we literally have one driver in the playoffs in the top 10, and it is in that 10th position of Cody Nagel. So that just again kind of shows how shaken up this thing has been here. And I think that's the strategy we're seeing is these guys in that championship hunt. They just do not want to take that risk of losing the draft, and of course of making sure that they can make it on that 2-stop strategy. So we'll drop again back here to Sebastian Marin, and they continue to stay out as well. So say Sebastian and the 74 there of Robert Jordan, they're still working together as best they can. Lap time wise, they're actually not doing too bad. I say last time by was a 51.21 for Sebastian, which was actually, I believe, actually quicker than the leader Randy Minor last time by. Again, Matt, I mean, it's just showing them this. Yeah, these guys the pace is just not what it could be. I mean, we're running about 3/4 of a second slower than the fastest lap of this race. Here we go. Here comes some pit stops. It's going to be TW. And again, a bunch of the guys that pit at 23. Oh, close call. Oh, Dean Wilkinson's going to try to save that car. Will jump back to him. And I think somehow he hung on to that because, yeah, almost contact with him and I believe it was Robert DuPont. We'll see if he's able to get through cleanly, but man, that was close.
No. He got a speeding penalty for Randy. He got a little bit too hot.
Yeah, it's going to be a stop and hold then for Randy Minor. So we'll jump back up front now because those were all the drivers that pitted at 23, Matt. Now we jump to these drivers. These are the ones that went to lap 25, so we suspect we should see them probably another at least 2 to 3 more laps. Again, I think the end goal for these guys needs to be lap 50 or 75 to go, or 25 to go, to get to lap 75. So again, I think that's going to be the magic number. So I don't think we'll see any takers yet, and indeed we do not. But the problem is, like I said, I don't think anybody's going to really want to lead this field here. But right now, their hands are going to be forced, and it's going to be Les Levy is going to be the one that's kind of like said that sacrificial lamb. It might be that 62 car at this point. And then yeah, to your point, Matt, it looks like you said on the pit stop cycle of things. Randy Minor had that stop and hold, but it looks like for the rest of those guys that all came out of pit road, it's actually Robert DuPont that is in and out quickest of those guys as he's about to start picking up that field here. Saying unfortunately though, they're pretty spread out, Matt. You can see the 9, the 55, the 171, they're locked on together. But then you got to go another second back to Derek Walker, who's trying for all he's worth to catch those guys, along with Kevin LaChance. So it's in Derek's best interest here, obviously, to catch these guys, and honestly, probably in their best interest to pick him up as well. So we'll have to wait and see how it all shakes out. And see, yeah, there they go. They go ahead and get around the 07 car, which I think will actually help Derek Walker here because now he's going to pick up some more draft off this guy. So we'll watch lap times right now. He ran a 58.16 to the 59s, low 58, 59s for those other guys. So he's a little quicker. I think he will catch these guys. So I think not all is lost for the draft for that number 20 machine here. Let's jump back up front though, Matt, because we're on lap 49 here. Going to come to lap 50, which would be 26 to go. We'll see if we can, if these guys, anybody comes in yet. But I think they want to go one more.
Yeah, you would definitely want to be safe.
And it looks like everybody's going to keep going. So everybody's working that number. So I think we're seeing it, Matt. I think that's the strategy right now. And again, Les Levy, hopefully he's got the field to get in this time. So I think we will see drivers hit pit road this time around, Matt. Now the next question is, do we see anybody else maybe try to stretch one extra lap, maybe pit at 24 to go, just to give them a little bit of breathing room? We do need to mention Sebastian Marin and Robert Jordan. They are on pit road, so they had to pit here at 26 to go. So probably some fuel saving needs to be done by that 23 car. But we'll see where he cycles out through this pit stop here in a little bit.
These guys in this main pack they are in great shape right now.
Yeah, I mean, these are the guys right now. This group right here, this top 11, say we want this race to go caution free. And here you go, right away there. Here comes Dan Harrington, and actually, looks like Dan Harrington might be on his own. Very surprising. So everybody else making great fuel numbers. So Dan's going to be pitting solo here. So the hope for him is if he can find someone to pick up the draft with as he gets out of pit road. So we'll have to keep an eye on that 82 car. As you see, they're going by that 74 car. And then just about to pick up that 23 of Sebastian Marin as he leaves pit road here. Saying this would put him at the moment one lap down here as he starts to build back up to speed.
Hopefully he's got a short enough pit stop that he can latch on to somebody.
Yeah, that's gonna be exactly to see where everybody kind of cycles out in relation to one another. You see Sebastian there, and so he doesn't want to lose any time here, so he's gonna actually try to hustle that car down the apron, but wanted to give them all the room they could. And now we get the busy pit road here. A bunch of drivers hitting on pit road, but we got two that are gonna go even further. A little bobble there by a couple of those drivers, but able to hang on to it. But Cody Nagels, Vicente Guerrero, they went full fuel save, Matt. They're going to try to go one extra lap here, and this should allow them to be just that little bit extra aggressive on that final stint where maybe they don't have to do any fuel saving at all. So this is a big move here by these two if they can make it happen. And actually, they're going to pick up Sebastian Marin here. I think they've backed down their pace to make sure that they can make it to the end. And so we're going to listen on the car. Let's listen in and see. Yeah, they're still running, but both cars are definitely not fully up to song. I think a little bit of saving going on.
Yeah. Maybe they're saving for a green-white checker.
And that's exactly it. They might also have a little bit of tank here, but now the goal is they got to have a good pit entry here because they got to stay in this lead pack. So this is all to play for here right now as they hit pit road. Need to mention after pit stops though, it's going to be Charles Johnson here. We've got about a 4-car breakaway here, Matt. This is, I think, what these guys are hoping for here. Again, they probably are going to, not probably. They will have to make one more stop to make it to the end. It'll be a splash of a stop, but they will have to pit again. That's going to be Charles Johnson, Dean Wilkinson, Robert Rock, and Robert DuPont. Then you got to go back about 3.5 seconds to pick up Les Levy, who's leading these guys that pitted at 51. And that's going to include Zach Workman here, Eric Laurie, Peter DeBorgia, Derek Walker, and Dan Harrington. And just able to pick up the back of this pack are going to be J.D. Crow and Gabe Butler. So luckily for them, they hang on to this draft. Unfortunately, it looks like they will drop Jimmy Crow Jr. It's just unlucky for him. As also here comes those two that went that extra lap, Matt, Vicente and Cody.
Oh,
this
man,
may not work out for them, but they're going to pick up. I think they're going to pick up the 39 car here. So if they can make a big push here with these 3 cars, maybe they'd have a chance to close that gap, but it's going to be very hard pressed here.
Yeah, they're latching right onto the 39 car.
Yeah, so we'll watch lap times here because right now we've got actually about a 6-car train up front here. Now they've picked up the 45 there of Todd Siebels, along with, I believe that is Donald Stewart, and the 101 of Randy Miner. So now that, again, the groups are becoming a little bigger. This is going to help the pace of these three. These these 7 drivers. As last time by, they ran all 4 of those drivers up front, Matt. They ran their fastest lap of the race of 49.48s, a full second faster than Zach Workman now, who's leading the second pack. They ran a 50.61, so that 3.5 second gap we talked about, it's now growing to almost 6 seconds. But again, I don't think that's the goal for these guys. These guys aren't worried about that they want to just get basically, like I said, they want this thing to go green to the finish here, because they are not worried about fuel mileage.
Yeah, the guys who are leading right now, they're in a heap of trouble. Charles Johnson, Robert DuPont, and the 20 car Derek Walker. They're not going to have enough fuel to the end.
No, exactly right. So they're going to need, basically they'll probably need about 5 laps worth of fuel to make it to the end. And again, they're not going to be able to save that number. So they will have to pit. The question, of course, is going to be when they need to pit. Do they want to basically pit as soon as they're in their window? Do they want to just wait until the absolute last moment to pit? There's a lot of strategies on that front as well. So right now, like I said, the leaders of this race right here are these front 4. They're the 9, the 55, the 171, and the 07. Those 3 behind them are actually the drivers that are right. Actually, right now the first car is 1 lap down, which honestly might be an idea here for those guys up front. Maybe let your teammates here of Todd Siebels, Donald Stewart, and the 101 Randy Miner, let them be in front of you here, because A, you can save off of them, and then B, if there's a caution, your teammates will be on the tail end of the lead lap, and they can actually wave around and be back on the lead lap as well. So might be honestly in the interest of these leaders here to let these guys go and just kind of push them along. Well, we'll see. Right now, say they're kind of sticking with the strategy they have. Also looks like Bud Steele, he's coming back into the mix, because unfortunately it does look like Bud Steele was also one that got caught with a pit penalty when he pitted at 51. So he's also dropped off the lead lap right now in that 6th car. So right now we're down about, looks like 19 cars on the lead lap as they run. And actually it's kind of bounced between 18 and 19, because right now that 78 is trying to get his lead lap back the hard way. But yeah, right now Jay Hilliard, last car on the lead lap in that number 59.
Can you blame him?
Oh no, and that's exactly my point. I mean, like I said, I feel like it'd be in the best interest of this group here to just let these 3 or 4 in front of you, let them lead, and then still keep the pace of the race up, but be able to back down your fuel savings, because maybe instead of needing 5 laps of fuel to save, maybe you could pit for like 2 laps of fuel, 3 laps of fuel. Yeah, exactly. So I think it would be in the interest of shortening your final pit stop, just to basically just give yourself anything you can. But here's the big storyline to me right now, Matt. Vicente Guerrero, Cody Nagels, and Jimmy Crow Jr., they are catching that pack in front of them. They are going to catch Peter DeBorgia. They probably had to burn a lot of fuel to get to him, but they're going to get there. And actually need to mention, here comes that final pit stop for those 4 leaders.
They're going to draft.
I was saying, actually, that's a good call. There's the hit pit road there before that second pack catches them. So that's going to bring them onto pit road. Should be a splash of fuel. That's going to net our leader now to the 18 of Zach Workman. So now put Vicente and Cody back into this fight for the overall win tonight, along with Jimmy Crow Jr. So again, the 14, the 06, Matt, they pitted at lap 52. Everybody else around 51. So they might have a little bit of fuel extra, but I feel like they probably honestly burns the extra they had just to get up to these guys. So these guys, it's gonna be that race of pace versus fuel saving. As JD Crow, he's going to jump in front of those 2, because again, JD is one of our championship contenders. He wants to get a bonus point, wants to get the lap led there. I think he saw that momentum, said, this is my best chance to get that push to the front.
Now you question how much fuel did Vicente and Cody Nagels burn. It's always going to be the question. With that extra lap of fuel saving, if I had to guess, it probably kind of leveled out between the lap Gabe Butler pitted versus the Vicente Guerrero and Cody Nagels pitted.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% there. They probably burned, if the same, if not even more, of what they had saved by going the extra lap. But what we're looking at right here, though, is that 5 car, JD Crow. This could be a bonus point for him again. He was second in points coming into tonight, so I say his goal here, he's going to need obviously get a lap led here. I don't think he'll be able to be the most laps led in that number 5 car, but should be able to at least get that 1 bonus point now to kind of level himself with Sebastian there. And now it's going to be all about he needs to try to get the win, and then of course also keep that car incident point free to get those bonus points as well, to see if he has any chance of closing that gap. So I mean, we talk about a week in, week out, Matt. Every point matters. Every bonus point you can get. The question now is, with 16 to go, does JD have enough fuel here at this point to kind of go and control this race here? Maybe he decided once he jumped up, say, okay, from here I know I can make it to the end, and he took that advantage to strategy. So that's gonna be the question mark to me: is this the right time? Is this too early for that 5 to make the charge to kind of control this race now?
You know what? I really couldn't tell you the truth. We know we probably wow. Being running up front, burning the most fuel. You saw what happened between Charles Johnson and Derek Walker and all them. They had to come in 2 or 3 laps early, and right now, if you're that 5 car, wow, is it really worth it just burning up all the fuel here?
And I said these guys are pretty good at what they do, Matt. So I have a suspicion they probably feel like they can make it to the end from here, from when he said, all right, you know what, it's time to go. Let's make that push now. And so I think he probably is using I say a lot of these guys, they use the fuel calculators. They have what they need. Let's say they've kind of got their computer crew chief, if you will, telling them their fuel numbers that they need to have. So I think JD probably kind of got the green light, said, okay, you know what, no matter what here, we can make it to the end. So basically go ahead, get that lead, get pushed up front, and let's make it happen.
Looks like our True Value boys are just kind of making a statement here, but there's a lap car headed their way. They might use him as a draft. You never know here.
Well, that's going to be the thing is, if one of them can kind of pick him off as a draft, they will. But yeah, you see he drops to the 3rd lane. So that's again, nice selfless move here. And you know what, Matt? I think I'm going to put one of the boot knockers here. Maybe not in the race tonight, but usually one of the drivers that's kind of involved in the process, kind of, I think, listening and probably doing some of the radio side of things. I'm going to bring in someone who's not going to be expecting this to see, because I'm very familiar with him with this league and some of his other super speedway prowess. So I'm going to put him on the spot here, and that's going to be Mr. Kevin Freeze, one of the boot knocker teammates here. So I'm going to drag him on over here because I'm sure he's been in communication with the teammates here. All right, Kevin, we're a little nervous about JD Crow when he decided to jump to the front, take the lead. How are you guys thinking everybody's looking on fuel here to get to the end? Is that kind of the green light that JD got to make it?
Yeah, pretty much everybody in that front group, minus I think Derek is going to be all right to make it. Dan Harrington might be close, but he hasn't been out front, so they all should be relatively safe.
All right, and so then, of course, the competition, you're looking at the Limitless teammates there of Vicente and Cody. We know they went 1 lap further than you, but then they had to work extremely hard to catch back up to your draft. So is it one of those things like, okay, they probably had to burn off what they maybe gained just of recatching the draft? Or I mean, are you guys even worrying about them, or is it just, well, at this point it's kind of just a outright brawl to the finish if we stay green here?
Oh, I think they're more than safe. It's just, if there's a caution, it's going to really shake things up. There were a couple times earlier that I thought it was going to come out, but everything's looking good. It's going to be a nice competitive ending here.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how those points shake out, because, yeah, you're right. I mean, JD, of course, second in points coming into tonight, and not the night that Sebastian Marin was looking for, sitting in 18th currently, so it could be tight over there as well. So we'll let you get back over to your team, but yeah, appreciate you stealing you for a little bit there, Kevin, giving us some extra insight that we normally would not have. So good luck the rest of the way, man, and let's see if we can get one of your teammates the win and or the championship tonight.
Yeah, appreciate you guys pulling me in, and enjoy the rest of the broadcast.
All right, thanks, Kevin.
All right, that is Kevin Freeze. Let's say he is definitely a known commodity on the super speedway side of things. Was a very successful plate racer here, and he's also very successful at some other places as well, Matt. So get a little inside scoop there. But yeah, right now I think it's just going to be a dogfight right now between those two up front there. That, like I said, the Limitless True Value IROC team, if you will. Then you got a bunch of those boot knockers, because right now they've got about a 30-second margin over Dean Wilkinson. And again, that's the difference, Matt. That extra pit stop, unfortunately, it's dropped him about 30 seconds off lead. And also the pace of these drivers is pretty even right now. 50-27 for JD and company, 50-34 for Dean, so pretty even there. Then we go back to Sebastian Marin right now, who's pushing the 68 of David Overstreet, sitting in 17th position. But again, Sebastian pitted at 49, so I feel like for Sebastian, he's got to be careful how hard he can push here. He might need to think about backing it down just to make sure he can make it to the end. Because if he's going to have to take a splash of fuel, that could cost him 2 or 3 more spots, and that could be a difference enough to maybe drop him another point or 2 down and affect his championship outcome. So this is not all but over here. Like I mean, Charles mentioned he felt like that Sebastian had it kind of locked up here, but right now, to me, without a yellow, this thing is very much up in the air, up for grabs here. As we're down to 10 to go here, Matt, 9 to go at the line.
So what I'm hearing from Darren Harrington on his streams, he said he's just right on the number. So he's going to have to save just a little bit more fuel.
But the thing is, he's in the absolute perfect spot to save that fuel, Matt. He's in the inside line. He's about the 4th car in line. Doesn't have to push. Just needs to basically just balance his kind of the throttle. Just be as gentle as you can without kind of. You got to basically just be kind of as partial throttle as you can. You got to kind of just really be good at modulating it, not kind of flooring it, then lifting, then flooring it. You got to find that happy like 70-80% throttle that you can just kind of sit at and hold the draft. So. Unfortunately, behind him though, Derek Walker again, he pitted at 46, so he's kind of going for a different strategy here, which is kind of run this one long and then do that splash at the end of the race. So we'll see how it shakes out. But the other thing that could happen here, Matt, with that 3rd pit stop that we talked about for Dean, Robert, all those guys, if we get a late yellow, I think everybody in this front pack here probably has to pit to feel safe for green-white checkers. If there is a yellow, I could easily see Dean Wilkinson and all those guys. They say, you know what, we probably pitted late enough where we have a little bit of extra fuel to get to the end for a green-white checkered. We stay out, we jump those guys. We wind up taking first through about 4th, 5th position. So there's a lot of potential in this, and that's kind of again the risk reward of some of these races. Of racing it basically to the lap 75, or maybe racing it to lap 77, 78, 80, depending on those potentials of the green-white checker. But right now, Matt, we're coming down to 7 to go. Right now, it looks like it's, like I said, a fight between Boot Knocker and Limitless. Then it's also going to be a fight on that fuel mileage. But they seem to feel like they're pretty good to go to the end, and they've got teammates lined up 1st, 2nd, and 3rd on the inside line. At 5 to 18 and the 071, and I don't think we're going to see any variation from that. I think these guys are pretty much committed to trying to get their driver teammate JD Crow here the win, and maybe possibly, depending how things shake out, the championship.
Oh boy, coming to 6 laps to go. Still 2 wide. I'm still waiting for that 3 wide situation.
Yeah, at some point I suspect we'll see the 3rd lane, but the problem is though, there's a lot of boot knockers in this group, Matt. Really, the only ones that aren't are the 2 Limitless drivers, Dan Harrington, and I believe the 62 of Les Levy. Other than that, I'm pretty sure the rest of these are all part of the boot knocker team. So I'd say not a knock on Derek Walker, because we know he's going to have to pit, unfortunately. So that's why I didn't include him in that list. And saying we do have a few drivers a lap down that are in this pack, so we never know. You always talk about lap cars maybe playing a role, pushing a driver, helping draft, and all that. I mean, that always comes into play as well. So you never know. Like I said, Bud Steele, I mean, he could wind up being a pusher for somebody. That 19 Kevlin Chance, he could be doing the same thing as well. So, I mean, there's definitely, it's not all to be said and done, because they could play an outcome in this one as well. You see they're catching one more of those TW drivers. I think that is Todd Siebels they're coming up on here. So, yeah, this is going to be interesting to see here. And, unfortunately, it sounds like, unfortunate for BK not here tonight, because he's unfortunately under the weather. So, BK, hope you feel better soon, man. Yeah, definitely try to get 100%, get that all kicked from your system. But
PK.
look forward to seeing you here in a few weeks to start our season opener again on August 7th in 2 weeks' time. But right now, Matt, we are down to 5 to go. And so it's Bootknocker versus Limitless right now in that front 2 rows.
You know what? I'm going to go on a limb. I'm going. I've been rooting these guys all season long. I really think this is a team to watch out for next year. Speaking of that, there goes Derek Walker. He has to pit early because he's about 3 or 4 laps short. But anyway, as we were saying here, I'm going to have to go with Cody Nagels and Vicente Guerrero. I love these guys. I love these guys' paint schemes, and they work really, really well together as a 2-car, 3-car team against that giant Bootknocker group, and they've been proving it week in and week out. I really think they can get it done here today.
Yeah, so I think it's really going to kind of come down to who else is going to be in that group. Like I said, right now, I think kind of Jimmy Crow Jr., he's kind of the wild card, I guess you could say, in this one, because he can obviously stay kind of tucked onto Cody and try to shove him and Vicente to the front. Or we might see towards the very end here, we might see and then Peter DeBorgia, maybe even Les Levy, maybe they jump to that third lane, try to make it go for themselves. But in the process, that's going to slow that middle lane down. Like I said, I don't think you're going to see any shift from these front 3 on the bottom, the 5, the 18, the 071. I think they are fully committed to one another. The question mark is going to be also the 82, Dan Harrington. And it looks like the Derek Walker, he's left pit road, but unfortunately he does not get lined up with Dean and company. So I'd say he's going to drop a fair bit off the field here. But Matt, we're down to it here, man. 3 to go in this one. I'd say we still have 10 cars in this lead pack here. So at the moment, it's going to be just kind of a race of fuel mileage, and then, of course, that late race push to the finish.
Yeah, I don't think maybe might see 3 wide here, but, you never know.
So the thing that these guys right now all in this top 10 are wanting, though, Matt, is they want to see this white flag, not this time, but next time by, because at that point, if a white flag comes out, at that point, the race will be official to the finish. If we get a yellow anywhere in this next 2.5 roughly miles, it is going to stack this field all back up together, and then you just have absolutely no idea how it's going to shake out. So for JD, for Vicente, for Cody, and then the 18 of Zach Workman, they want this thing to go to the green to the end, because like I said, they want to settle it amongst 10 drivers. They don't want to add another 5, 10 drivers into the mix to have a chance at this race. So we'll see if they can make it this through 3 and 4 here as we're going to get to the white flag this time around.
I was trying to see where our championship leader was at. Sitting there in 16th
He's 16th position right now. So again, and we got to make sure he has the fuel to the end. We don't know if he's going to have to splash late, but here we go. White flag is out, so this is it. This is going to be for the win, possibly for the championship here. Again, JD Crow, he needs to get every point he can, because it's going to take max points to have a realistic shot at this championship. But like I said, for Vicente Guerrero, he just wants to win. He wants to end the season on a high note. Had to miss a race, unfortunately. A big pusher by 18. He's unsettled the 5 just a little bit down the back as they are heading into 3 for the final time. And there goes the third lane, JD Crow. He tried to make the outside work. It's not going to happen, though. Not enough momentum to get there. That's opened the door for Les Levy. He's going to make a late charge here. We'll see what he does with this momentum. And it's going to be a drag race out of turn number 4. Vicente, Cody, they are locked on here, Matt. Right now, Vicente has the nose ahead. Can he hold it through the start-finish line, though, as they come out of 4?
Oh, man, this is going to be close.
At the line,
Vicente got it.
It looks like Vicente is going to get the win in the thousandths of the second once again. We'll see. I say now we just got to wait for the timing and scoring to finish, because we still got some drivers to finish up their laps here. But, yeah, like you said, it looks like Vicente got the push he needed. And we'll see if that is enough for maybe to save that number 23 of Sebastian Marin. He has crossed the finish line. He's pretty much parked it immediately. It's going to be 17th position for Sebastian here as the field's going to come around here. There's the second group led by Dean Wilkinson. They're going to come across the line, but it's going to be Vicente Guerrero. It looks like that will be our winner. We'll pull up our official results once they come through. I think we still got one more car to cross the finish line. But judging by what we're seeing up front here, it looks like Vicente will indeed be our winner here tonight. All right, so as we watch that 14 celebrate there, like I said, that's going to be a good welcome back there. You see the 5 of JD Crow. He's going to roll an extra lap here as well. But yeah, I say right now, I'm just waiting for my results to kind of come through and kind of be finalized, because right now they haven't still shown up for me yet. And so you got some teammates here going to celebrate at the start-finish line here. Vicente Guerrero. So that's definitely some teamwork there. Now we get the official results pulling up here, Matt. And indeed it is. There it is. Vicente Guerrero by 0.07 of a second over JD Crow. Then you got Cody Nagel, Zach Workman, Eric Laurie, our top 5. Then continuing down to Les Levy, Dan Harrington, Gabe Butler, Jimmy Crow Jr. there, and Peter DeBorgia, our top 10. Then we got Dean Wilkinson, Robert Rock, Robert DuPont, Charles Johnson, Derek Walker, our final finishers on the lead lap. And finishing up with Bud Steele, Sebastian Marin, and David Overstreet. 1 down, unfortunately. And then the remainder of those 24 drivers, Jay Hilliard, Randy Miner, Robert Jordan, Todd Siebels, Kevin LaChance, and Donald Stewart in 24th. So before we start pulling drivers up here, Matt, I got to go ahead and I'm going to try to get some points updated real quick so we can make sure where everybody stands. So give me just one moment here, folks. And Matt, if you want to start queuing up our drivers to have chats with them, I say we will definitely kick things off with that number 06 of Cody Nagels.
Hey, I wanted to jump in real quick and just say appreciate you guys for broadcasting this season. What a season.
It is our pleasure, Charles. Yeah, doing a quick, we're going to verify these points real quick before we say anything we regret.
10-4.
Because that was going to be close tonight after everything, the way it shook out. So it's going to be fun to see. All right, we have got the points updated here. So I would say we're going to double check here, Matt, before we get to those interviews. And it is going to be a 9-point difference, but our season champion will be that number 23 of Sebastian Marin, able to hang on to that title. And I'm gonna do the math here later on, but that first versus second for JD may have been enough to make the difference of the championship or not. So that may be a 7/8 thousandths of a second difference that he wish he had back. But first though, let's go talk to our top 3 drivers. We're going to kick it off here with that number 06 of Cody Nagels. All right, Cody, pulling you in on over here, our 3rd place finisher. And I'm going to say kind of the spoiler, if you will, for tonight, because you're able to get your teammate here the win. I mean, obviously a lot on the line on the championship side of things. I'd say I'm not sure if you guys were even looking at the points, or is it just, or for you guys was it just, you know what, points aside, let's go get this win tonight.
Maybe a little bit of both. Like, I think we always care about points, obviously, but being the last race, Vince being on vacation, so he was out of it, and I, by points, wasn't able to be close enough to run for the championship. Just a little bit of unfortunate bad luck, I guess, during the playoffs. But going into this race, I think it was more about just be aggressive, pit as late as possible to save as much fuel as possible. That way, once we get in our window, we'll have enough for a green-white checker and to be able to push the entire run. Once we got track position from there, I was just trying to save temps and, cross my fingers that when I got to the line, my car didn't blow for Vince.
All right, so then we got to go back to the pit stop. You guys went 1 lap further than the good chunk of the field did, but then you see the field kind of going by as you get out of turn number 2. I mean, what's the stress level of like, are we going to be able to catch this pack? I mean, what's going through your mind when you see them go by, and then it's just for initially the 2 of you, and then you pick up the 3rd car of Jimmy Crow Jr. there. I mean, what's going through your guys' mind, and then what's the discussion there of like, okay, what do we do to catch these guys?
Jimmy was still saving, so he wanted me to push. I think we pitted, honestly, a lap too late because I thought we were a little closer on fuel than that, but I miscalculated. But I thought we were close enough. We were just a little over 3 seconds, so I thought, maybe the guys in the back are trying to save fuel. So my thought process was maybe they're not running 100%, which would allow us to be able to catch them. Vince said, just push until we get there, and then we'll make the move, once we catch the pack. I started pushing them a little bit, and I'm seeing the time is just shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. So stress level was pretty high at first. Then once I started getting up to speed, pushing Vince and seeing that we were, catching the pack, had a little bit of peace of mind there, knowing that we were likely going to catch them. So at that point, we're trying to run our line and stay connected, nose to tail, and hope Jimmy is a good third in order to catch them because we were running 100%.
So with you guys having to hustle as hard as you did, I mean, did you kind of lose the fuel advantage you had by going that extra lap? I mean, how tight were you guys getting to the finish there?
I want to say we had still a couple laps to the good. And that's the advantage I think we gained from pitting a lap later than everyone, is we were able to push the car harder. We weren't even close. Like, we could have went 2 more laps and been fine. So, again, I don't think it was necessary to pit when we did, and that's a mistake in hindsight I wouldn't have made, but I guess it paid off because it allowed us to run flat out the whole, the final 25 laps, I believe it was. We're just able to run our race and not have to fuel conserve like we did for the first 50 plus laps.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. It was one of those things where, it's kind of that risk versus reward, and so obviously the big risk was whether or not you guys would lose the pack. But like I said, I mean, you guys are Matt and I were talking. I mean, for being a 2-car team tonight, usually a 3-car team with BK. I mean, you guys just put on a show tonight with that big pushing at the end, and then just the how locked in you guys were with each other coming to that final lap there to get the 1-3 finish. I mean, really, really well done there. Great job tonight, Cody. Definitely want to give you the floor to finish up the season with that podium and give any thanks and shouts for that result.
Of course, I want to thank you guys at Green White Checker TV, Gael, Matt. You guys do a fantastic job broadcasting, so appreciate you guys and what you do. I want to thank my parents as well for tuning in and supporting me with everything I do. I want to thank my Limitless teammates, Vince and BK. When we started, it's like we're on the track and we have to communicate so much to be able to know the moves we were making when we were a new team. And now it seems like whether we're 2 cars or 3 cars, we really don't even have to talk. Like, we know exactly the moves that we're going to make. So I don't know, the cohesiveness that we have had lately has been off the charts. So shout out to those guys. And I couldn't have the success I have without them. And I just love seeing both of them win races as well and have that success, because Vince, he won the race tonight and he deserves it. Great job, great running. And I couldn't pick better teammates. Them guys are fantastic.
Yeah, you guys are definitely going to be some to be reckoned with again next season here in just a couple weeks' time. So go enjoy this one. Say maybe get a little bit of a breather, relaxer, and we'll hopefully see you guys back here in just a couple weeks to kick off the 3rd part of the season.
Thank you.
All right, that is our 3rd place finisher there, Cody Nagels. And we got to jump back now to our runner-up in that number 5 machine. And unfortunately, say it's going to be runner-up in the race, and unfortunately runner-up in the points as well, JD. I mean, I knew we talked pre-race. I mean, you knew you had a tall ladder to climb to try to have a chance at it, but I'll be damned if you weren't right there. I mean, I'm guessing this is one of those races where you just wish you had that little extra 7-8 thousandths of a second there, because, I mean, I think that may have been enough to get you the title otherwise.
Well, it was a great team effort. We went into the race with the plan and we stuck to it. And, I know Zach was working his butt off back there, keeping his car nice and cool, pushing. And I just told him I was going to try to lead him a little high through the trial. We'll see if we could break away and get a run to the line, and just came up a little short. But, there were other races that probably cost us more than this one. But congratulations to Sebastian. He had a heck of a lead going for these last 3 races. We cut it in half twice, and damn if we didn't almost cut it enough here tonight. So congratulations to him on the championship and Vicente on the win. And we did what we needed to do, except get that extra 10 points. Would have been nice to see what the math came out.
Yeah, that's exactly it. As like I said, that difference between 1st and 2nd being 10 points, and unfortunately, you are spot on because you came 9 points shy tonight. So yeah, that 7-8 thousandths of a second. I mean, that would pretty much flip flop you and Sebastian, if I'm not mistaken. So, like I said, I mean, he did what he had to do those first couple of races. Was able to get really great results. And I'll say, unfortunately, this being the bad race, I guess you could say that he had. But yeah, just like I said, I mean, the comeback you guys made and then the jump you guys had strategy throughout the night was near perfection. those sneaky limitless guys though say they locked on pretty well together, and say again, I mean, to finish up the season caution free, flag to flag, and have the championship come down like it was a really impressive season, and a great season for you as well with the 2 wins, 5 top fives for the course of these 12 races. I mean, it's definitely nothing to shake your head at as well.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, we'll look at the high side of it, and we'll look at the stuff that really costs us, points throughout the year, and see if we can improve on that for next season. And it was a great run. We did everything we needed to do except, like you said, that extra 2 inches to get across the line first. And Zach did everything he could to get me there, and I appreciate it. And I know Eric was pushing on Zach as well. So we gave it a great team effort and solidified second place. I think Eric might have finished third and Gabe fourth. So in the season, so strong performance from the team, and we'll take this and come back stronger next time.
Yeah, so definitely no surprise level to see you guys next season, kind of like said, full force, and definitely a force to be reckoned with as well. So, just a great job tonight, JD, all season long as well. I mean, like I said, an amazing season here. Looking forward to seeing more of you next season. Well, again, just in that couple of weeks' time here before we kick it off once more. So, before we let you go, though, definitely want to give you the floor here. Any thanks and chats that I could give for that runner-up result?
First of all, I want to thank Charles and all the Area 51 organizers that put this together, and Green White Checker TV for broadcasting this so we can go back and relive it again, and all my guys in chat with us, Zach, Eric, Gabe, Jimmy, Peter. Let's see, I'm sure there were some other ones that jumped in there from time to time. We got also shout out to the original Boot Knocker guys, Dude, for putting the group together. Appreciate all you've done to help me develop as a driver and strategist in this iRacing series. And man, well, like I said, I might have to go get me something to drink, turn on the TV, and watch it again.
Yeah, it was definitely, there's a lot of strategy in this one, and so you guys had the strategy to perfection there. Like I said, just those couple of inches, unfortunately. But I mean, again, like I said, nothing to hang your hat on. It was a really great job tonight, man. And just wasn't this one, but look forward to seeing you go after it again here next season.
I look forward to it. We keep inching closer to one. This would have been our first, so we're getting closer every series. So hopefully we'll knock one down before it's over with.
Wouldn't be surprised to see it happen. So, go enjoy this one here, JD. We'll look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks. But again, congrats though on the result tonight. And again, an amazing season as well.
Thank you, Gael.
All right, now we're going to jump over to our race winner in that number 14, already celebrating here. So let's back it up a little bit and get a better look at that number 14 of Vicente Guerrero. Because again, 0.07 of a second was the margin difference between he and JD Crow. And Vicente, honestly, I don't know, man, but you might need to send, or maybe need to suggest Sebastian send you a kind of a thank you basket, if you will, because that 0.07 of a difference, I think, made the difference between 1 and 2 in the championship. But man, I mean, short of course, unfortunately, missing last week's race since you had to selfishly go on vacation. I mean, a great season for you. Cap it off with the win here tonight. I mean, just take us through the race, and obviously the strategy. We talked with Cody going that 1 lap longer. I mean, we talked about him with his stress levels. How are you behind the wheel, knowing that you're going to have to kind of try to grab that position back and get all that and the time back to chase those leaders down to even have a chance at that win after that final pit stop?
Yeah, it was pretty stressful. I'm working on. I did a 11-hour drive back from Arizona back to California. And then I had to jump on the simulator, so I'm kind of like feeling kind of like shaky and stuff. But man, it was stressful, and to put that on top of that, trying to catch the pack. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you got out of the Arizona weather, because I'm over here, and that's definitely not that enjoyable. It's really hot right now, so maybe next time try to go somewhere a little better for vacation, just for future reference. But the race though, I mean, you and Cody, you guys started pretty close together with one another, so you kind of were able to be near each other pretty much all race long. But for pretty much from the get-go there, that first pit stop, like, it shows some guys were going to have to pretty much guarantee with the two-stopper, with them pitting around lap number 23 three-stopper pitting around 23, and then a good chunk of the field there pitting then at 25. And then of course that second run where you guys were able to go that one extra lap. I mean, was that the plan? Was hey, let's just save absolutely as much fuel as possible to try to go even further, or is that just one of those things where it's like, hey, we can actually go one more than these guys. Let's take advantage of it. I mean, how on the fly were you having to make some of these calls here tonight on the pit stop strategy?
Yeah, it was kind of, last decision, just to come. It was our game plan to make it as long as we can, but to run it dry. But we just took that chance. It was the last race of the season, and why not? Let's just take the chance. Cody and I were discussing it, and we try to save as much fuel between the runs, to just stretch it out that extra lap, just to secure, just in case maybe there's a green white checkered, we still had that fuel to, over everybody else.
Yeah, and that was something Matt and I talked about, was maybe that extra lap would play a role in if there was that late yellow. But yeah, caution free tonight as well. So I mean, a really impressive job by all the drivers to do so. And then and then you get towards the end of the race, you see there's only pretty much 10 lead lap drivers in the running for it. And then again, I think with you guys having the fuel knowledge, it seemed like the other guys maybe didn't have as much comfort of being able to kind of just go foot to the floor the rest of the way. It sounded like you and Cody, like he'd mentioned in his interview, you guys were good by a couple laps still even. So it seemed like it did make a pretty big difference. And then, like I said, maybe allowed that extra aggression, kind of run the outside line, not have to save on the inside. So honestly, everything together worked out extremely well. And like I said, to finish out the season strong actually jumps you back up 3 spots into 4th into the playoffs, even with missing the race. So yes, I mean, I'm to say, fortunately, unfortunately, a great result. I'm sure that's the whole what would have been if you could have made the last week's. But I think it's just one of those ones. Is this going to be one that kind of you're like, okay, I saw what I can do this season, I'm just going to grow for that and go after these guys next season?
Yeah, that's the plan. Slowly but surely, start getting up there and win more consistently. I got good teammates behind me, so Cody and BK, man, we mesh really good together. So I'm sure we'll be up there next season.
Yeah, I mean, it was, again, 1-3 tonight. Let's say for you guys, you did everything you needed to be able to pull off that win. So a great way to finish up the season before the short break here, before we kick it off again in a couple weeks' time. So definitely want to give you the floor, though, for that win here tonight, Vicente, if you want to give any thanks and shout-outs here.
Yeah, our team, Limitless, Cody and BK. BK couldn't make it. He's feeling a little bit under the weather. So hopefully he'll make it back some other race. But and also you guys for broadcasting. You guys are doing an awesome job, always broadcasting. Always enjoy watching the replay after the race. And also I'd like to thank Area 51, racing with these good guys. It was good racing with JD and Zachary up front at the end, and I'd like to thank them for a good, clean race.
Well, I'll go to celebrate with your teammates there. So great job, Vicente. Enjoy this one, and look forward to seeing you here in a couple weeks to kick off the next season, man.
Thanks.
Good job there, buddy.
Thanks, Matt.
All right, that is our race winner in that number 14. And now we got to bring up a probably very relieved number 23 of Sebastian Marin, because, man, this was not the race for you tonight. I say you had great results in those first 3 races, and I mean you needed every inch of them. But I'm gonna say you're probably gonna have to send a thank you basket or something over to that 14 of Vicente Guerrero, because I think his 7,000ths of a second made the difference between a 9-point victory and a 1-point second place result in the points there. Just take us through the night, because it looked like all was well initially. You're up front, led a lap there right off the bat. Everything's looking good. And then it sounds like got caught up in a bad spot on pit entry during green flag stops, and that kind of derailed your race, it looked like.
Yeah, it started off well, like you said. Just I ran out of fuel, it put me out of 4, my first pit stall, so I lost ground there. And then I had it set to not take tires, but it took tires. So then after that, I lost the main pack, and to be honest, I was just praying for a yellow, which, judging by how, those few laps I was up there, I could tell it was going to be a relatively clean race. So I was, again, just hoping for something to happen. And nothing ever did, so I was just trying to salvage any points that I could. On the last lap, I ran out of fuel. The leaders were behind me, So instead of doing another lap, I just went down pit road and let the leaders pass, and I coasted to the finish line, so I didn't have to give up any more spots. So, yeah, like you said, luckily Vicente got the win, because if not, man, it would have been a real upset in my opinion. But, well, I mean, things happen. It's racing. Definitely cut it close, but it was still a good season. So.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. I mean, it's not all just one race. It's going to go over the course of it. And I mean, you kicked off the playoffs. I mean, you had 3 runner-ups in a row. So I mean, obviously, like I said, tonight kind of the one exception. But yeah, I mean, second, and then obviously tonight not going to plan with the 17th. But I mean, and that's the thing is, it's a 4-race play. It's very short, of course. Any little hiccup could cost you, but. I say the 3 that you had the good results on, that was enough to get you the title. And surprisingly, like I think we mentioned before last week, I mean, didn't get the win here. Didn't get a win, I should say, this season. But I mean, could be one of those consistency type seasons for you, though, with 6 top 5, 7 top 10s. I mean, you were up there on pretty much all the points and everything like that. So. How different is it for you to kind of get the championship on just basically on solid results versus just I guess you could say kind of getting the wins and running away with it? Because I say that's kind of I think what we're used to seeing out of you.
It wasn't too different, obviously how the points were. Winning paid a lot more points than finishing second, so winning was still kind of very big and important. But finishing second every race wasn't it wasn't bad. It was still really good in the points. So it wasn't different to me in my eyes. I felt like I was still not running away with it, but I still felt like I was running my own race, doing my job, doing everything that I could, getting every points that I could. I felt like I maxed them out. So yeah.
Well, yeah, so you were able to do enough to get the championship, so definitely got to congratulate you as our 2022 Xfinity Superspeedway champion here with Area 51. So congrats on the championship, Sebastian. A really, really, like I said, hard-fought one tonight. Obviously, just like I said, trying to maximize points and like I said, making strategy, deciding, you know what, if I run one less lap but make sure I stay ahead of some of the competition to not drop any extra laps. I mean, and I say all those things come into play. So I say it was a really good job of making the best of a bad situation, man. So I say well, before we let you go, and I'd say celebrate, but maybe first kind of take a deep breath and then go celebrate. I say we definitely want to give you the floor here for any thanks and shouts you'd like to give for that championship this season, man.
Yeah, I'll give a shout out to Steve who's watching, and he's been we've been basically racing together. I mean, not technically on track racing together, but he's been watching me, just having a lot of fun. I think he should be back soon here in like a week or two. I'll give a shout out to the Boot Knockers. I ran with them majority of the start of the season. Just been running a bit solo, hanging out with Steve since he hasn't been around much. So yeah, I want to give a thanks to them. I'll give a shout out to you guys for putting on this broadcast. I love how you guys do your broadcast. It's probably one of my favorites. And I'll give a shout out to Area 51/CW for putting on this league. Again, I've said it before and I'll say it again. The Sunday League, I just have a lot of fun with it. It's kind of just a regular fun Sunday league. So yeah, it was a hell of a season, a lot of fun. It came down to the wire. It was close. So yeah, I couldn't ask for anything better.
All right, well, congrats on the championship, Sebastian. Like I said, say go take a breather, and then yeah, go celebrate here with your buddies, and definitely look forward to seeing you next season. Yeah, definitely try to grab Steve on over here because it'd be fun to have him back on track as well. So go enjoy this one. Have a week or two off, and we'll see you back here not too long, man.
Time for it. Thank you. See you guys.
All right, Matt. That is our season champion of Sebastian Marin. 9 points the difference, but honestly, I think you could kind of say that really turned into more of the difference of 7-8 thousandths of a second, because if JD has that extra 8 thousandths and is able to get around Vicente, we're counting that number 5 champion by 1 point this evening, because it's 50 points for first, 40 points for second, and that was the 1 point differential between the two of them.
Yeah, that one small little mistake almost cost him the championship. Just that one little extra lap where he ran out of fuel coming into the pits, it really, really hurt him. But he got very, very lucky to finish where he was.
Yeah, I mean, and that's exactly it. I mean, it's sometimes the luck's on your side, sometimes it's not. Unfortunately, tonight it was definitely not on his side. But again, he used those 3 runner-up finishes to kick off the playoffs to kind of build that margin. And that's what we talked about at the beginning. Was yes, it's a good margin, but it's not unbeatable. Again, just the way the points play out with incident points and bonus points and all that, it plays a role in the outcome of these races. And luckily for Sebastian, he was able to just have enough to hold on to it. And unfortunately for JD, he was just unfortunately 7-8 thousandths of a second away from being able to kind of steal it away from him at the absolute very end. So, and that's what we're here for, man. I mean, that's why these guys race. That's what they're here to do. And in this case, yeah, it was Sebastian Marin able to just hang on to that championship lead.
What a battle! What a season!
Yeah, and that's exactly. I mean, we've had an amazing season all around. We had a lot of close battles over the course of all the series, really. Monday had late season changing of points at the end. The Indy series was kind of up in the air until that very final race as well, and once again here as well. So that's going to do it, though, for us, Matt. That is going to be 2022 Season 2 in the books for the Area 51 Racing League. Green White Checkered, we will be back in a couple of weeks for the next season, so stay tuned. For those that are on the members of the league, you'll find the info on Discord or on the Facebook most likely. And those maybe interested in the league, you can find them on Facebook as well. Area 51 iRacing is Area 51 is the league, but look for probably search add iRacing to the search because they are on Facebook as well, and of course then on the Discord for the members. So Matt, as always, sir, a pleasure. And again, definitely congrats to our race winner, Vicente Guerrero, our season champion, Sebastian Marin, and caution free here tonight to finish up the season at Talladega. So definitely hats off to all the drivers here this evening, and hope you all enjoyed it tonight and over the course of the season. Look forward to seeing you again in a few more weeks. But until then, take care, stay safe, have a good night, and we'll see you all in a couple of weeks.
Good night, everybody.